It feels like it's been forever since we've been together. Good morning there on the holy interwebs. I'm glad you're joining us. Since it feels like forever since we've been together, that's because we went on a cruise. Patty and I did. It was an Olivia cruise. Who here has ever heard of Olivia Cruise? All right, so Olivia Cruise is organized by women for women, and it's mostly lesbians. And there are straight allies too, but it's mostly lesbians. And so there were 2,000 women on this ship. It was pretty amazing. We did learn that we're not cruise material, Patty and I. So while we don't regret going, we won't be repeating it. But it was wonderful. We went to Alaska. And there were programs on this ship that the organizers put together for us. And one of the program was kind of telling us about the history of the movement. Chris Williamson, who here has heard of her, she's a musician, amazing. You know, in 1970, she writes this song that she starts out, sweet woman. It's like, and so they talk about the struggles, about the difficulties that they faced through their lives. And these people are way showers. They were fighters for rights for gays and lesbians. And as I was listening to them, I realized, wow, they're all older than I am, and I'm getting up there in age. And then I thought, wow, they're so defined by their struggle, and they are, to some degree, encapsulated into that struggle. But then I thought, well, me too. I'm defined by my own struggles. In fact, each generation is defined by their struggles, is defined by their successes. And then, we talk about that. It's how we pass on history and story. And then I was also, as I was listening to them, I was reminded of Theodore Parker, who was a Unitarian minister, and he published a sermon that became very famous. He fought for freeing the slaves, and he fought for anti-racism. And he's the one who coined the term that the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And it is long. And sometimes, because our lives are short, it's hard for us to see how it does bend towards justice. So I thought, today, I will introduce to you 3 people, and I will let them speak for themselves, okay? So I'm Tom. I was born in 1930. I ended up joining the Marine Corps. It was there that I realized that I was attracted to men. It is there that I met Tom, my one and only lover. And it was our goal to be lifelong servicemen, to stay in service till retirement. So we were lovers in our private lives. And then when we were out there, we were buddies. And we were always very careful how we spoke about our vacations, how we curated our public lives. But we were in the Marine Corps, and it was all right until Eisenhower in 1952 decided that it was against the law to serve in the government, in the federal government. So we both got out of the Marine Corps, and we moved to New York City. We adjusted. I got a job in the banking industry, and I did okay. I kept getting promoted. And the pressure was so just unbearable to conform, the pressure to conform, that I actually ended up breaking up with Tom. And I asked my secretary to marry me. And I don't have a lot of regrets about that, other than I feel so sorry for her because she was never appreciated for what she brought to this marriage. Just couldn't do it. But we have two beautiful children whom I love. So I don't regret that. But I miss Tom. So a few years later, I called him and I wondered if he was willing to just meet with me. Maybe we could reconnect, talk it over, talk it out. And we did. And we went to this bar. And it was illegal. It was a gay bar, but it was illegal. Well, in fact, up until 1960, it was even illegal to serve gays alcohol. But this was past 1960. In fact, it was 1969. And we're in this bar, and it was amazing. It was just good to see him, talk to him, reconnect. And then there were men dancing with men and women dancing with women. And it was just so wonderful. And I felt like I can breathe and relax. And we just talked. And I was at home again. It was amazing. And so time was just passing by us. And oh my God, it's already 11 o'clock and it's time to go. And then the lights, and then the raids, and the police came. And it was I heard about this. I heard that these bars were routinely raided by the police, and then the patrons were picked up and put in paddy wagons and taken away, and they were beaten. But this night was different. The patrons decided to fight back. And they threw pennies in the face of the police, and they say, "Here, your payoff, more payoff." So it was horrible. It was a riot. But finally, we fought back. And then I do remember, how can I forget, sitting in the back of the paddy wagon, handcuffed. There's this young man next to me, his face bloody because he got beaten by the police. And he looked at me and he just said, "Will we ever be able to love freely?" And I thought about it. And I said, "I think so. Just not in my lifetime." Well, I'm Susan, and I was born in 1960. I'm about 30 years younger than the fellow before me. And I don't remember a lot of talk about homosexuals or gays growing up. I do remember my dad saying, I do remember this, him saying that these homosexuals ruined a perfectly good word, gay. But I ended up going to college and I tried to be straight. I really did. But in my second year of college, I came out and, I never looked back. I never ever looked back. And then I became very active. And in fact, we opened a gay little chapter, a club, a little alliance at our college. And then the student body even voted a little fund for us, so we were funded even. And then a funny thing happened. Some straight students got together and they started their own straight alliance. And like, what on earth would they ever even need a straight alliance for? But oh, funny. They did it. So we didn't miss a beat. We took an ad out in the paper and we congratulated them for so bravely, courageously embracing their sexuality. And so, I lived out loud. We were into the music, we were the whole scene. We lived, and sure, there was discrimination. But we didn't care. We just lived our lives. But then AIDS hit, and it was horrible. And the government played deaf, dumb, and blind, and they didn't care. And our friends, for some reason, it seemed to affect mostly our male friends, and they were dying. They were like flies. And it was so excited when we first started to come out, and we all came out, and we were so proud and just lived into our authentic life. And 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 then these guys, some of them just scurried back into the closet because they were so afraid of catching AIDS. And I mean, who can blame them? So we the women, we ended up nursing these men. They were such good guys, and it was horrible to see them waste away, and we helped them, and we did the best we could, and then we organized and we tried to affect the government to change policy and do research and help these guys. Something terrible was happening to our community, and nobody cared. So, of course, I was very involved in this life, and I started giving speeches, going to groups of people and talking to young gays and straights and trying to form alliances. And so I learned how to give speeches. I learned how to fight back discrimination and bigotism. And I was at one of these talks. I was giving one of these talks, and this young girl, she raised her hand, and she asked me a question I was not prepared for. She said, "Do you think we will ever be able to marry legal?" And I was hit. And I thought of my girlfriend, my partner back at home. And then I thought of us walking down the aisle together. And I said, gosh, I sure hope so. I just don't think it'll happen in my lifetime. I'm Brittany, and I was born in 2000. I'm definitely younger than the other two. And I don't know, adults are like so lame. It's like when I came out at age 14, my parents said, whatever, it's fine. Like a year later, even gay marriage was legalized, like, duh, about time, right? But still, adults are like so weird because some of them embrace us, but some of them are like, I don't know, they're just like so, like they reject us, and it's just like, get over it already. It's like, we're here. Love is love. Who cares? Like in my class, hey, Tommy has two dads, and then Stevie has two moms, and who cares? And my best friend is trans. Like, who cares? Get over it. Like you think this is so important, and you're just like trying to divide everybody, like trying to find groups that you can hate. Well, it's over because when we get into government, it's not even gonna matter anymore. In fact, you know what I think? I think we're going to have a gay president in my lifetime. The arc of the moral. How does that go? I knew that. Moral universe, thank you. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And it takes a long time. And then those who struggle, the struggle is real and worth it. And so we must remember to keep struggling, even if we hit snags. And although there's been progress, this progress can just as easily be taken away. And we must commit every day and recommit every day to working for justice, to standing up for the disenfranchised, to speak up against racism, sexism, against gay bashers, trans haters. Speak up, fight, vote in a way that makes sure that we are the ones who keep bending the moral arc of the universe towards justice. So that's it. This is who we are. This is who we recommit to being. And never forget, you can never know what you will see in your lifetime. And that can be good, and that can be bad. So may we protect against the bad and work towards the good. And so it is.